So, when you're building with AI, you usually start with the default settings, right? But what happens when you need to push past the basics? What if you want to be the one calling the shots, dictating exactly how your AI remembers things and learns over time? Well, today, that's what we're diving into. How you can get total, and I mean total, control over your AI's memory using Amazon Bedrock.
Think about it. Have you ever felt kind of boxed in by automated memory? Wished you could just write your own rules for how your agent remembers a conversation? If that's you, then you're in the right place. We're talking about getting complete, granular control over your AI's brain.
Okay, so let's break it down. On one side, you've got your standard memory. It's simple, it's automated, and you know what? It's great for a lot of applications. But on the other side, you've got self-managed memory. And here, you're trading that out-of-the-box simplicity for something way more powerful. Custom, granular control that's built to be absolutely perfect for your specific use case. Imagine a complex customer service bot that can't afford to forget a single detail across a long chat. That's where this just completely shines.
So, what even is a self-managed strategy? Let's be clear, it's not just a feature you flip on. It's a whole new way to think about things. It's like being handed a custom toolbox for building your AI's memory from the absolute ground up.
All right, so here's the official definition. It's a feature inside Bedrock's AgentCore, which is basically the engine managing all the memory that lets you build your own memory extraction and consolidation pipelines. You get to define all the custom logic, you write the rules, and AgentCore just handles the heavy lifting of storing and retrieving that data. It's kind of the best of both worlds, right? You get all the control with all the convenience.
And this is where you really get your superpowers. Seriously, need your memory pipeline to kick in only after a super specific event? You can do that with custom triggers. Want to plug into an external system for data validation? No problem at all. You can even bring your own unique extraction algorithms to the table and pick whichever model you want for processing. You have complete and total control.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work in the real world? It might sound a little complex, but this custom control follows a really clear and predictable 5-step process. It all starts with a trigger and ends with that memory safely in storage. Let's walk through it.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with a trigger. You get to decide the exact conditions that kick off your custom workflow. Maybe it's after 10 messages have been exchanged, or once a certain token limit is hit, or maybe it's just after the chat has been idle for a few minutes. You're in charge.
Now, what's so cool about this slide is how it just maps out the entire journey. First, you set up your triggers. Then, once a trigger fires, AgentCore sends out a notification and drops a data payload into your AWS resources. That's when your custom logic wakes up, it grabs that data, extracts the important memories, cleans everything up to get rid of duplicates, and finally, stores those polished memories right back into AgentCore. It's a beautiful, clean loop.
Okay, let's shift gears and get practical. How do you actually build one of these custom pipelines? It really boils down to two main parts. You've got to set up the foundational infrastructure, and then you have to write the unique logic that makes it all tick.
First up, the infrastructure. This is the bedrock, pun intended, of your whole setup. You're going to need an S3 bucket. That's where AgentCore will drop the conversation data. You need an SNS topic so you can get a ping letting you know a job is ready to go. And, of course, you need a secure IAM role so Bedrock actually has permission to talk to your other resources. And here, my friends, is where all your creativity comes into play, the logic. This is your code. You'll have a service, probably a Lambda function, that's just waiting to handle those notifications. That function then fires up your custom extraction code, runs your unique consolidation and deduplication algorithms, and then at the very end, it uses the batch APIs to write those clean, processed memories right back home to AgentCore. Now, building the pipeline is one thing, but building it well, that's a whole other ballgame. So let's go over a few super important best practices to make sure your pipeline is robust, secure, and hey, even cost-effective.
First on the list, a super practical tip, let's control those costs. Look, once your pipeline has processed the conversation data from S3, you probably don't need to keep that raw file just sitting there forever. So, by setting up S3 lifecycle policies, you can have them automatically deleted, which is a super simple way to keep your storage costs nice and low.
And this right here is a really crucial point. Smart memory consolidation isn't just about keeping things tidy. No, it directly impacts both your performance and your wallet. If you implement some solid deduplication logic, you stop your AI from storing the same piece of information over and over again.
This not only cuts down your storage costs, but, maybe even more importantly, it makes your AI's memory retrieval way more accurate.
And of course, we have to talk about security. This is non-negotiable. Always operate on the principle of least privilege. That just means only grant the absolute bare minimum permissions needed for each role to do its job, and nothing more. And hey, if you're handling any sensitive data, you've got to use KMS to encrypt your S3 buckets and SNS topics.
So, there you have it. The power to design a completely custom memory system, tailored perfectly to whatever your application needs. The control is officially in your hands now. You've got the blueprint, so the only question that's left is, what are you going to build?